Hey card people, I've been writing and illustrating cards for, I would say, about a million years, a million. And I thought this would be great to come on here to kind of show you behind the curtain or off the drawing table how I come up with my ideas. And maybe a story behind one or two cards. My line is called Vanity Cases, where the philosophy of my over-the-top, usually over-the-top characters is who cares how you feel on the inside, as long as you look fabulous on the outside, which quite frankly, I think are words to live by. But in addition to showing you how I create the cards, which I sell in Etsy and have sold over 10,000 to date. And again, my whole goal is to inspire you with ideas and prompts for selling. But beyond all that, I'm going to give you the story behind two cards, because there's always a story behind the cards. These cards are my mini therapy. So I'm going to give you the story behind these two cards. These are the examples I'll use, and quite frankly, these are two that were ordered today. And then I'm going to show you the process of how I come up with the text, because inside text is crucial. It's key. Statistics show that more people will buy inside text, cards with inside text, than blank. Doesn't mean there's not room out there for blank, but if you can put art on the cover, you can put text on the inside. So come along, we're going off the drawing board to show you behind the scenes. So here's the first of the two cards I'm going to sort of share how a card is born. This one says, the older you get, the more you realize you have no desire for drama, conflict, or negativity. You just want fabulous friends, a fat-free brownie, and the perfect lipstick color. Very important, very important. Here's to having it all on your birthday. So how can there be a story behind this card? Oh, there can, because last year I worked in an environment that was mostly women, and we can be our greatest support system to each other. But then again, if you get a toxic biatch, that's my nice way of saying it, man, oh man, they can just take you down to Chinatown. No disrespect to Chinatown or my daughter's birth culture. My daughters are Chinese. We adopted our daughters. Our daughters are Chinese. Toxic women, this is my way to deal with it. Instead of, I stay clean, I stay professional in any environment. I have my sense of humor. I have my, at times, sharp tongue if I'm responding about something, but never mean, never unkind. I always come from kindness. But rather than get really frustrated, it just came out in a drawing like, I don't want drama anymore. The only drama I want is on Bravo TV, Real Housewives of this city or that city. I don't want it live anymore. And I feel that way the older I get. And I created a sister card for this card because, in addition, women humor knows no complexion. So I have found by creating the same card, or a good selling card, or a card that speaks to a majority of women, the best thing to do is to create it as both a light-skinned complexion and an African-American complexion. And as a result, I have a lovely, very strong kind of split complexion. Does that make sense? I have a very strong African-American customer base. And that's because humor is humor. All women understand good hair, good lipstick, feeling good about ourselves, the importance of accessorizing. So that's the story behind that card. And again, it's kind of therapy. And what cracked me up is when the person saw it, one of the two women who inspired it, they went, oh, I know. Isn't that so true? We just don't want drama anymore. And I kept thinking, oh my gosh, she has no idea. She is the drama. But again, I win because I put it through the prism of creativity and fun, and it comes out as a card. And that happens to be one of my best-selling cards. I mean, truly best-selling cards in both my African-American category and my light-skinned complexion category. So that's the story behind that card. And then there's this card. The story behind this card, which says, sometimes I amaze myself with how fabulous I am, and other times I find my glasses in the refrigerator. That's right. And the inside says, I hope you find yourself having a fabulous day. As for your glasses, I highly suggest checking in the fridge, because I've done that. In fact, this, and again, she has a sister card, because this is just something so many people can identify with. This card, what comes from reality, and what I find far worse than finding my glasses, my readers. As an accessory addict, I have like 10 million pairs. I'm addicted to them. What I find worse than finding them on my head when I'm looking for them is finding them in my hand. And honestly, I can't tell you how many times that happens. So I figure if it happens to me, it's happening to other people, and that's where I come up with a card. In fact, that's part of this way to have a successful card line. You need to know that the nucleus of the humor or the sentiment you're sending or creating will identify, a lot of people will identify with it. If you have a group of people who identify, you've got a customer base. So that is how that card was born. Reality. And again, that becomes therapy. So that's the story behind those two cards. Simple, real life. So what I was saying before is so true. In the card industry, on the shelves, sales, nationwide, if you're just talking the big lines, the cards that sell the most are the cards with inside text. Why? People want you to think for them. And also, you'll find funny, humorous, or touching sentiments that express what you're feeling. So I have tons of inside text. And here's my tip or hint or suggestion if you're someone who writes cards or creates greeting cards. I write it down. Always write it down. I think I'm going to remember something funny. I don't. It disappears. So I don't care if I write it on a napkin, an index card. I always keep index cards in my purse. But then I translate it into this very small, they used to call these Franklin planners, this book of sections, which has everything from shoes as a theme, purses, accessories, birthday for her, aging birthday for her, tons of sections. But this comes from writing it down. I can't stress enough how write it down. And you know what, even if you're not going to do inside art, but you're going to do cover art, write it down. Put it in a shoebox, but then organize it, whether it's in a book. I also have folders, and I'll show you that maybe in a different video. But that way I can, if I have a fabulous drawing but I can't think of inside text, that might spur the idea, or I might find something I can use directly from there. Which then begs the question, what comes first? Because sometimes I go through this book and I go, oh my gosh, that's funny. I'm funny. That is so funny. I need to put a drawing with that. Which, as I was about to say, which begs the question, what comes first, the image or the text? The image or the text? I can't say I have a definitive answer to that, but I just say write it down and keep it as organized for you as you can. And it'll really help you in a pinch when you need that inside text. And I also highly suggest, this might sound crazy, but if you're creating and writing cards and illustrating cards, look at the competition. Who is your competition? So for me, I sell on Etsy. I absolutely will type in funny women greeting cards. Mine pop up. Or I'll go to Google and type funny women greeting cards, women humor greeting cards. Why? I want to see what's out there. I want to get an idea. And you know what? Many times it'll be the catalyst for you to speak in your voice. So I can't stress enough, if you're creating cards, give a look to the competition. I find it inspiring. And you're not going to duplicate. You're going to recreate, right? Right. If you've stayed around this long, perhaps the video seemed like it went up and down and all around. And sometimes that's how I work, and sometimes that's the nature, quite frankly, of my personality. But come on back, because I have a lot of cards. I have 200 in my Etsy store, which I print to order. I'll give you all kinds of tips, hints, and I wouldn't even call them tricks, rather suggestions, for doing something you will probably love or already love, and how to make maybe a little bit of money doing it. I've sold over 10,000 cards. I've been doing this for quite a few years. I used to license my cards, but I love love the beauty of Etsy because I can create it quickly. I don't need 10 people to say, oh, I like that. That's a good idea. If I like it, it's going up there because I am the CEO of Vanity Cases. So I'm still fairly new to vlogging, but come on back because I promise you I will have at least interesting information, informative information, and hopefully funny information that will inspire you to create your own cards and sell them. Love, peace, and chicken grease.